Hey guys, Troy and Cardauer here, back with another podcast. Have a really fun one today. We're starting off with the first ever Troy's Boiling Point. Wow. Big time show. We're going to be talking about Euro squad selections. I think from a soccer card investing standpoint, there's some guys who got in and some guys who didn't get in. And I think we've already actually seen the impacts of that on the market. We're going to answer. We got a viewer question. So there we go. We got a question to respond to today. And we have one other interesting one. Oh, we're going to talk about should like WCCF or whatever it is be the true rookie because it's the earliest. And yeah, just probably some quick, just general market talk because it seems like people are coming around a little bit. I'm hearing other people getting worried. All of us, it wasn't a dip. Now it's a dip. Interesting. Very interesting. But we'll get to that later. But first, the intro.
Or a block. Sancho. Haaland's volley is beautiful. Kylian Mbappe's star is shining now. And it's risen higher than his.
Like to buy? What should I buy? What should I buy?
I think we're going to see a lot more cards going up in price.
Neste momento, começa o cerimonial oficial.
All right. So I think we've talked the intro.
We're going to see a lot more cards go up in the future. And
wow, he's a scammer, guys. He's a scammer. Get this guy out.
Pump and dump.
Big pump and dump guy. But yeah, we'll get straight into the Troy's Boiling Point. I know people want to hear it. I got a this is like full rant. It's interesting. Do you know Ziggy No?
Yeah.
He posted Northeast Ohio Sports Cards. He's the guy who does like the market movers thing. And he commented something negative. Well, not even negative. He comments like criticism or whatever, or stuff he feels like he was saying he was greedy because he had too many ads. And then Northeast Ohio was like, yeah, I blocked your comments. You can't comment anymore. Which is like interesting. We won't get fully into that. This is not a drama podcast, but I guess it just made me think of this because you know what, guys? I'm open to a little bit of criticism. If you disagree, feel free to comment. And guess what? Someone did. And I will I'll read it here so I don't get it out of context or anything. Sorry, Troy, but you got to learn more about soccer. The soccer card market doesn't represent the actual soccer world. Listen to analysts, journalists, experts, retired players so that you can understand the sport better. This will help you make better investment decisions for you and your viewers. And I'm not going to say this got me upset because it really didn't. Mm-hmm. It was more, I was like, I don't really get upset. Like, it doesn't bother me too much. It's more so like, I want to explain to the other person why I believe they're wrong. It's not like I'm upset that they hurt me. It's like, I want to, here it is. I guess it's kind of a bad trait. I want to be right. Like a lot of times, like I want to be right. If I know I'm right or I think I'm right, then I'm really, really passionate about like showing that. Mm-hmm. So Cardauer requested a changed intro, was not able to do it. Kind of a busy week, but we'll still throw your intro on it. So yeah, just to recap, basically that guy was saying, I don't know soccer. I need to learn more and it'll help me with my investments. So the first thing I would say is I'm already doing that. And I talk very openly about that. I definitely watch more soccer than basketball. I try to watch every game I can. You know, there's definitely been times where we've talked about games and it's like, hey, I didn't catch that one, but I mean, you can just listen to the podcast. I have to watch most games so we can talk about it. I listen to, you know, I'm not like saying these names to flex. These maybe aren't the most, whatever, but I listen to like ESPN FC. I listen to Sky Sports, you know, Carragher, Neville, all those guys to try to learn the best I can. And I really am trying to learn. And as stupid as it sounds, I think even just, you know, playing FIFA, playing Football Manager, that kind of helps you immerse yourself in it and just pick up little things along the way. Mm-hmm. And even more than that, like I admit all the time, I defer to you all the time. I go, hey man, you know way more than me. And there's a lot of people who know way more than me about soccer specifically. I don't claim to be an expert. And actually, I've spoken very openly. Two of the main things I really want to I feel like I actually am lacking is, first of all, the knowledge of the time period before I was alive. I mean, that just makes sense. But Beckenbauer, I bought it was Batistuta, these type of guys, Shevchenko. I'm like, I should know more about them and what they've done. So that's, and also the last one where I think it would help me is to know the game on a more tactical level. I wish I could communicate better. I understand, for instance, João Felix, someone we've talked a lot about. I wish I could articulate better why Atletico Madrid's system doesn't suit him that much. I understand, I can tell you the difference between a Conte and a Busquets on a higher level, but the nitty gritty of tactics, I admit, I don't know. I did not play soccer at a high level, so I don't really know that kind of stuff. But so that's about me. I'm not going to rant too long about oh, I know it. No, I have stuff I need to work on, and I really, really try at it. I guess my issue would be, first of all, in the case I'm kind of going to make, I think that how do I say this? Well, okay, one more thing. We shouldn't be gatekeeping sports card investing for the most part. I know basketball. Wow, this is going to become a meme. I know basketball better than 99.99% of the population. 100%. I don't tell people, hey, bro, you can't invest in basketball cards. And also the point I'm going to get to, that's helped me, sure, buying basketball cards. But there are people who know so much less. I mean, honestly, 95% of the people who invest in basketball cards don't know jack S about basketball, and they do fine. Yeah. I guess what got me is if he just said oh, you should learn more about soccer, I think that'll be good. I would have said sure. But when he's talking about the investments part, that's where I actually disagree. I think that if you're going to invest in soccer cards, you have to at least understand the game and all this kind of stuff. But I mean, you kind of experienced it when you came in. You had an incredible soccer knowledge. But in terms of investing, would you have traded? Now, okay, I'll ask you in hindsight.
Oh, okay.
Do you think you would have done better if you would have been able to trade 10% of your soccer knowledge for a little bit more of real card market investing knowledge?
Probably not.
You don't think you would have done better in terms of investing?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I didn't understand the question very well, but yeah.
Sorry.
100%. Yeah. 100%. If I could trade in 10% of my soccer knowledge for more investment, yeah, sure, I would have done a lot better because that would have gone straight to Prism instead of go to Obsidian, maybe. So yeah, 100%.
So I guess that's kind of sorry, that was a little longer than I expected, but I guess the point of that is saying, first of all, yes, I'm trying to be better, and that's important. Especially, I actually know soccer. I have friends all the time who are getting into soccer. I'm like, you don't know a single ounce about soccer. You need to at least get to a base. You have to be able to name more than Messi and Ronaldo before you're dropping real knowledge. But I still believe once you get to that knowledge and you do understand the game, that investing part is almost more important. If someone was oh, I know a lot about soccer, I'm getting into soccer cards, I wouldn't say, hey man, you need to watch a tactics video on Atletico Madrid before you invest in João Felix. I'd be like, dude, you need to really grow up, learn about how the market moves, the differences between different sets, the importance of all these different things. Yeah. So I guess that would be my only little bit of a rebuttal. Yes, I'm trying to learn. I continue to learn, but do not underestimate how much this, like he said, exactly. It's different. The soccer card market is different, and it's important that the investing part, I would argue, is almost more important. And if anything, you can relate a little bit. You can kind of get caught up in your own knowledge a little bit. If it happened to me in basketball. I was like, oh, this guy is so underrated. He really affects this game in this way. And I was trying to invest in those guys. Didn't do well at all. So it's an interesting debate. I guess we won't answer the question. I was probably going to title this video what's more important? Can you invest in soccer cards without knowing much about soccer? And I guess my final answer is, as long as you have a solid level of understanding of the game and you really know the market, I think you'll do absolutely fine.
I would even go further and say 99% yes, because I am convinced that 99% of the current market doesn't know too much about the actual game. They understand the products, and they understand what player is talked about and is hot, but they have no clue. Like, don't ask them to put like 11 players on the field that would do well together. That's not going to happen. They understand the dynamics of the market with Prism and Optic and Donruss. But most people right now in the soccer card market, I don't think they can put it together like an 11-man. If you ask them, like, put together your ultimate 11, I don't think that was going to go end well. So also in your defense, I'm not going to turn this into like a
Troy defense podcast. It already has kind of become that, so I apologize. But go on.
I don't care. It's our podcast, so we can say about whatever.
This is true.
But I think people if people talk to me about you, they say that you're actually putting an effort to actually understand it. They see that you're trying to. Like you and Sunday League investors are probably one of the two American guys, like American content creators that actually put in effort to really understand it, because it's it's different. Like, you guys grew up with basketball, baseball, basketball. It's so much different. Like, soccer wasn't really part of whatever you're upbringing. And actually going into this, making content for people to enjoy and trying to understand the game, that's really something. Like, it's not easy. I mean, even I say it's not easy, because you have NBA is just one league, you have the playoffs, and that's it. In soccer, there's so much more to it. You have all these different competitions, and all of a sudden they come together, but they also play together in international. So it's a bit all over the place. So it's not easy. So the fact that you're actually trying to learn, that's more than 95% of people are doing right now. They're just trying to find channels that are telling them exactly what to buy, and then it doesn't work out, and then they lost a lot of money. So, I mean, even I think I know a lot about soccer, but I still learn things on a daily basis. So,
I think that, I really appreciate that. And to kind of wrap it up, this is the absolute last thing. I have 3 last points. First of all, like, kind of what you said, like, for me, it's all about a person's intentions. Yeah. Like, if I have a friend and he's like, hey, man, like, I really want to start dressing nicer. Like, I really, I have a date coming up. I want to start dressing nicer. I'm really trying to, like, learn how to dress better. Mm-hmm. And he shows up in a weird hat. He shows up in a fedora or something like that. I might calmly tell him, like, hey, man, I don't think you should wear that hat for the date. But I won't make fun of him, because he's trying. He doesn't think he looks cool in that fedora. He's like, hey, man, I'm trying to learn. As long as you have that good intentions, who am I to gatekeep you from something else? And that's kind of how I feel on soccer cards, because I talk to people all the time who don't know anything at all about soccer. But I'm not like, hey, man, stay out of my market. It's like, no, man, come on in. I recommend, and that kind of goes to my second point. If you're going to invest in soccer cards, it's important you at least have a basic level of knowledge. You should be able to name what country and club the guy is from. You should know just how the game works. Like, you should know that if you're going to tell people, bro, Holland, bro, is an easy buy for this summer, you should know that he's not in the Euros. Like, that's an easy thing to know. But I think once you have that basic level of knowledge and you're also willing to grow, then by all means, I think you'll do fine in the soccer card market, which is kind of my last point. He said, for your investments and everything, if you followed the channel at all this stuff, I've done all right. So we'll leave it at that. End of my long rant. I appreciate you indulging me on that one. Okay, we'll get into more what people actually want to hear about: Euro squad selections. Any interesting off the bat that stand out to you?
I mean, I think the most spoken about is without a doubt Benzema coming back 100%. Into the team after like 6 years. It's funny again. I think it's always so funny that no one really cared about Benzema up until that announcement. Like, no one was talking about it. No one, like, they knew he existed, and he played for Real Madrid, and he took over. Like, he carried Real Madrid when Ronaldo left. But yeah, he was Benzema, and he gets into the Euro squad, and all of a sudden his prices go up. I think it's still so funny. I still don't understand it. I hope I understand it one day. But yeah, I thinking that's probably the major one. I also had an interesting talk with someone on my channel. I don't know. I can't remember at this point, but it was like, why is N'Golo Kante like so cheap? Like, he's probably one of the best in what he does. And that's the thing. people are investing hundreds in Camavinga, which is basically arguably the same position. And he's like 18, 19 at this point. He hasn't done anything. N'Golo Kante is a World Cup winner and all that stuff. So it's just interesting that people only invest or trying to go for things that people are talking about. So it's interesting how this market works. And also the investing side of there we go. There we go.
Saying N'Golo Kante.
I mean, he's been one of the best in doing what he does. Like Casemiro, Busquets, those three are the major ones in central defensive midfielder positions. Like they own that position for the last God knows how long. And all of a sudden, there's like a 17-year-old Camavinga that comes along, and he's worth more than Kante. I don't know. It's just how the market works, I guess, because it's a lot of speculation, and the younger the better. But it's interesting. Well, coming back to the Euro selections, I think France looks pretty good. But then again, it's an interesting talk because if you're bringing Benzema, who's going to miss out? Griezmann, Giroud? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the names in there, and that kind of brings me like Benzema's stuff went up a lot. I think you even posted some exact numbers, like you flipped on ComC or something, right?
Yeah, I had them. I actually bought them when the whole soccer market came back in last year, March. That was the first purchases I made because I saw what happened to the Bundesliga, and I thought if that's where it's going, then I have to buy Benzema, because if Benzema comes back for Madrid, people are going to recognize he's a goal scorer, and that makes his prices go up. At that time, I was totally wrong because no one cared about Benzema. But all of a sudden, he gets a call up for the national team, and all of a sudden his price go up. Now, I did send like 40 Prism cards to ship my cards, and its estimated arrival is like the 7th of July. So I'm gonna miss out. I'm gonna miss out on that.
Yeah.
But still, I called it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. It's really
just takes a little bit. It kind of goes into what I've been saying though, like outside Messi, Ronaldo, Mbappe, Haaland, all these guys are so cheap. And there's just not that much out there. You know what I mean? Like people snapped up your Benzema stuff because how much Benzema stuff is listed. I've spoken for a while, just being ready. Someone who made the squad, Ben Yedder, his rookie stickers are literally like $10. Like I was saying, if he get it graded by SGC, $20, you have a Ben Yedder rookie sticker that you're into for $30. He has a moment. Oh my God, it's the same thing. What were you into those Benzema cards for?
30 cents.
Exactly. Like it's just
the 2014 Prism were like anywhere between 50 cents and $1.
And that stuff is like, especially once you even just because I'm sure you could have gotten like a colored one for just 50 cents more, which goes into once again knowing the market stuff we learn. You know what I mean? That's stuff we kind of learned, but it's rare and it's so cheap. Even like once again we're talking about Conte. Will he get his appreciation? Maybe not. But this was literally I think $80 what it cost me. And I'd imagine the pop is, probably in total between PSA and BGS, what, like 15, maybe 20. I would bet it's under 20. But regardless, if he has a moment, like that stuff just isn't out there. And that's like how soccer was printed before, basically just a year or two ago. There's not a lot out there. So it's once again kind of confirming a little bit of my theory. It's like if someone has a moment, Benzema just had a moment and he didn't even play. And his stuff went, and it went quick. You know what I mean?
And even if he doesn't have a moment, if he wins the second World Cup, that's his second World Cup. That's more than 95% of players will ever have. Like, what more does he have to do? Like, he's dominant at his position with Chelsea, 2 World Cups. Like, what more does that guy need to do? Like, it's insane.
It's interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
The France squad does look really strong. We kind of talked about that. Interesting. I guess we'll keep it on France for right now. Camavinga out kind of goes into what you were saying. Let's pump the brakes a little bit here. I mean, not that he should be expected, I guess, to make the squad that young, but it's just kind of like this stuff is not given that it all just happens so quickly for these guys.
I mean, if you look at the team that France can put out with the players that didn't include in their selection, that's still better than, like, let's say Finland, better than North Macedonia, Hungary, all these guys. So France can actually take 2 teams into that World Cup and actually make the 2 teams go into the quarterfinals. I mean, that's how deep that squad is. Like players like Azet was left out, Hernandez was left out, Areola, which is a pretty good goalkeeper, was left out. I mean, there were so many players that are left out of that team because their depth is
Ariola's not in?
No, he's
That's
not
my
in.
Filipino guy. Damn, no one hurts.
He didn't make it. I mean, that shows you how deep that squad is. So, I mean, Camavinga at that age, I don't think he should have made it. Like for some players, it's now or never. It's the same as in the Belgian team. Like they left out a lot of young guys because you have these older guys. Like Euros and World Cup is going to be their last shot. That's it. Yeah. Like the whole thing about the golden generation from Belgium. This is it. Euros and World Cup next year. That's it. If they don't make it, then we're gonna see a drop off as we're seeing with a lot of clubs like Ajax, like Barcelona, maybe, who have gone through a transition. It's now or never for these countries, so they'd rather take their more experienced players, which we've seen in the Belgium team. I hope we can touch on that because maybe that can turn into a bowling point. But yeah, we definitely like that. The France team is so deep, and I'm sure Camavinga will get his spot if he turns out to be like everyone thinks he will become. Then no doubt in my mind he will make that squad. But if he doesn't turn out to be what everyone is spending hundreds and hundreds on, he might get left out again.
Yeah, I think we may save the Belgium boiling point / squad analysis because I think like once the tournament's really happening, it's going to be nice to have kind of that insider scoop. Okay. But I want to go one wonder kid out, one wonder kid in. Musiala made the Germany squad. It's very interesting what happens when people switch countries. All of a sudden, what is it? The balls, not the balls seems to roll. You know what I mean? Like the dice seem to roll in their favor. Like things seem to work out for them.
Yeah, there was another player that just changed country. I cannot remember. I think it's Laporte. I think it changed from France to Spain.
Yep.
It's like whatever suits them. It's like I'm not gonna get into the France team. I just go to the Spain team.
It's funny too.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, I'm cutting you off so much. I apologize. But it's funny too because I see all that, and in FIBA basketball, the rules are crazy strict. So I know there's a ton of Filipinos, like real Filipinos, like grew up in it, speak the language, live in the country, and they cannot play for the national team because you have to get your passport before you're 16. So it's so funny to see it be so strict in basketball. And then in soccer, it's literally like free agency. They change and then they change back. And then they're allowed to change one more time. And like a lot of these people, like they have no idea. You don't even have to have any heritage. You could just like the Chinese national team, right? These guys are just, I live here for a little bit. I'll play. So it's really interesting. And going into, the strength France has, Laporte, and not able to get into the squad, switching countries. They even did a cool one. It was I think they did Germany and France. It's not states in Europe, but like regions or cities or whatever. The squads just from each region are absurd. Like Germany and France could put out like for each region, like 20 squads that would be better than those teams you named.
Yeah. I mean, I need to make another version of my predictions for the 2020 Euros, but I really like Germany right now. The fact that they brought in Hummels and Müller, especially Müller in that midfield, that changes everything for me. He was retired because after it seems that all these players retire and then just come back. But
I thought in Germany they were kind of like forced out of the team a little bit. Like there was disagreements with the coach.
Yeah, a little bit, and then they just retire. And if things come back to normal, then they just come back. But having that Thomas Müller in there, that changes everything for me. I underrated them a bit. I went to the simulator again, and I might have overshot Portugal a bit. So it's going to be interesting to see what I'm going to do with that. But I really like this Germany team right now. If I look at the players, and it's, as you said, like Musiala making it, that's going to be a huge experience for him. He might not even play, but just being included in that team and just experiencing that international level and that tournament and being with the guys all the time, and it's a different environment. It's not, you cannot compare it to anything. Like it's not a competition. It's like a big European international event. It's uncomparable. It's like something completely different. So that's going to be a very good experience for him. That's why I think all these young guys in the England team, it's a great experience for them. Even though if they end up not playing, it's an experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially having Mueller in the squad, even though he's not like the biggest goal scorer in the world, certainly not the flashiest guy, but just having like that veteran stabilizing force, like it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. Wow. And this guy doesn't know soccer. I'm pretty much a genius. You should put me on Sky Sports. I think, I'm right up there. No, but well, I'm curious. Do you have any strong thoughts on Musiala? I mean, obviously it's good for him to be in the squad. It has to be good for his card prices. Do you have any thoughts on him as a prospect?
I mean, he already plays for the biggest German team that's out there, and now being included in the national team. As I said, I'm not sure if he even gets some minutes. Maybe if they're like 3-0 up, and for the last 5 minutes he gets his like first minutes. That's most of the time how it goes. Like he's not gonna get. Well, I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. He's probably not gonna get included in the starting 11. I don't think that's how it. That's not how it works normally. No. But this is a crazy year, so I don't even know. But normally he doesn't get included in the starting 11, but he can close out games. He gets like his first minutes, get a feel of the game. And if they go further into the tournament, then maybe he can start, get subbed off. But this is an opportunity for him in terms of card prices. Well, as long as Germany stays in there, his card prices can keep going up, even though he doesn't really do much. I think we've seen some crazy stuff happen in the market. Like I can see that card go up and go up and go up, even though he plays like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I can see that happen.
He's pumping and dumping again, guys. Get him.
I actually don't own any of his cards. I don't have anything of his.
Oh, you're missing out, man. Those I was gonna buy those top. I like the Tops Now parallels. Those are kind of cool. Like I saw a red one with him. I was like, that's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I think he's a talent. I was surprised how much he plays for Bayern. I guess maybe they're just so dominant. But when I looked at how many games he's been in, I was like, wow. Like I thought he was like basically like a last reserve type of guy. But he's getting minutes. I think that's a good point though about Germany and like their prices, especially with the expanded squads this year's. If you're looking to sell on some guys, it might be time to sell like right when the tournament starts, or maybe a little earlier than you think. Because with these guys, it's like, okay, like you said, Musiala is in the squad. Everyone's so excited. You're thinking of what could be. But then when the actual tournament starts, it could become clear pretty quickly that he's not going to play much outside of like these last minute type of things. So make sure you know the difference between those two. I think that's something interesting. We usually don't do, our plays here, but that might be if you're trying to make a play there, maybe sell a little early with some of these guys. They may be in the squad, but maybe not going to play as much as you think.
Yeah, and also people need to realize that Euros has like a different kind of dynamics. So even if you don't finish in the top 2, you can still make the end tournament. This is the same as the 2016 Euros. If you don't know how it works, then look into it. But I mean, I don't see Germany go out in the group stages. I mean, I cannot see them losing to Hungary. So it's like they will probably make the quarterfinals and all that stuff, the round of 16. So there will be opportunities for him. I'm sure if one of these players don't perform like they should or supposed to, then he gets some minutes. And all it takes is one goal or one assist or one flashy action. Like the whole world is going to, well, maybe that's a little over exaggerated, but that's the biggest event we have had in the soccer card market up until this point. So a lot of people will be watching, and especially with these young guys, we've seen they don't need much to really go up in price. So even stepping on the pitch is enough for Moukoko cards to go to $800 in the PSA 10. So
do you know what I want to see that I just thought of? I want to see North Macedonia pull a Greece and pull a stunner. How funny would it be to see what happened to like, who's the striker for North Macedonia? He's pretty good. I have no idea. Okay, well, they have a good striker who's been there for a while. I'm pretty confident. I think he plays in like Portugal or something like that. Anyways, it would just be funny to see what would happen to like those type of guys' prices. Like I want to see like one of these small nations go on a run and everyone get really excited about a guy whose cards are literally like 1 cent right now.
Pandev?
Yep, that's the guy.
Who he plays for? Genoa in Italy.
Okay, yeah.
Seven
it'll just be-
goals, 7 goals, 5 assists in 28 games. Okay,
he's
that's not
good.
bad.
That's what I'm saying. He's producing.
That's not
So
bad.
rare tip right there. Get in on Pandev. No, but I get. Yeah, hey guys,
Yeah.
that's my play. Pick up all your Pandev cards for 1 cent now while you can.
He's 37.
Wily veteran, exactly. Even more. Even there won't be any more cards printed. That's what I'm saying. So get them while you can.
It's gonna be interesting. We should make like a top 3 of like insane things that will never happen, and they will happen. Like
that's a good idea. Well, remind me. We'll do that for the next podcast. Like our boldest Euro 2021 soccer card investing claims. That'll be fun. Okay. Yeah, we'll get into the questions. We'll do. It's a little heavy sock. We'll do this one first. This one's actually a question from the viewer. What will be the NBA PMG for soccer cards? If you don't know, NBA Precious Metal Gems is a set from the 90s. It was like it's really rare. Kind of, they're all numbered and stuff like that. So we don't have to necessarily. There isn't anything really that's going to be an exact parallel. So I kind of just took it. Especially from the 90s. I mean, I'd be shocked if maybe someone can come up with something like that. But basically, like, what's a set for soccer cards that you think will be like iconic going forward? Because he asked that as well, like 20 years down the road.
I think Megacrex has a very, very good shot at it.
I've heard that Soccer Study was saying that. Shout out to him. I thought that was a fair point.
Yeah, I think I have it from there. I mean, Megacrex, even like you have the Spanish version and the Portuguese version, but it's still Megacrex.
Yeah,
like Messi, Ronaldo's rookies. I mean, what more do you want? Like, again, it's more. We cannot call it vintage. I'm still confused by people calling Messi and Ronaldo vintage because they're still playing. So it doesn't really.
I do it, and I understand the fault in it. It's more so just to like kind of like differentiate the difference between them and modern. But you're right, it's not vintage.
I would never call it vintage. There's some people. It's not that there's a rule, you know. It's like if you want to call it vintage, sure. I would not call it vintage, but if you want to do it, sure. But I think Megacracks is a huge one, especially if we've already seen that players that are huge in the history of the sport, but the people who are in the market right now don't really know them. Like an Alan Shearer, he's a legend. Like he's the all-time leading goal scorer in the Premier League, the biggest. Everyone talks about it. Like he has to go to the Premier League, and while that's what everyone is saying, the main goals, the leading goal scorer doesn't get love whatsoever. So I understand it. Like if you haven't watched him, like people don't care about Pele because it's like so long ago. Like people care more about Ronaldo and Messi than Pele. Yeah. So maybe that Megacracks is a very good shot. A very good shout. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I kind of like that set as well. I think it looks great, and knowingly that it has a lot of legends in it too. Like watch the soccer study video, but I think that's a very good set. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I think one of the things he mentioned was specifically like Messi's rookie year, like having like I think Beckham is in there.
Yeah, Figo, a lot of them.
Yeah, Ronaldinho, these type of guys like. That could be something interesting in terms of that one's just tough though, because like it doesn't have that rare fact. I mean, it's rare but like when it's only base, I think sometimes it could be.
I think it's naturally rare, not like
that's true, though.
Fabricated rare, like a one of one. If you put a 1 of 1 in the next 10 sets of the next 10 years, well, is that really rare? I mean,
yeah, I agree with you. For me, I agree with that one. I agree with that. That's a good pick. The two that thought of, and obviously I say it all the time, but I think Topps Chrome 2017 will just be huge. It'll just be the beginning of something. And also Prism 2014. I'm really trying to, both of those sets, I think the fact that like that's the beginning of soccer cards. It really is. You know, before that it wasn't. I mean, not the beginning, you know what I'm trying to say, like the modern soccer cards for sure. The fact that there's so many big names in both those sets, I think is huge. So long term, I'm a believer in that, especially the low numbered stuff. I think going forward, like I have like, you know, Messi, I'm trying to get like a blue one from Prism 2014 and then like a blue one from Topps Chrome 2017. It's just a feeling I have, but I think long term, like people are going to look at that and be like, wow, like that's a card to have. Prism or Select. Well, I just have everything handy today. Select 2015 is one of the earliest ones as well. I just don't think it's a very visually appealing set to me, especially like the messy, like looks gross, like just to me how it looks on that. And I think that's really important going into the NBA Precious Metal Gems. They're just sharp looking cards. And I feel that way specifically about Topps Chrome 2017, but Prism 2014 as well. So that'd be my pick.
That's why I thought that Obsidian looked great. I mean, all these cards look kind of great in Obsidian, and it's that's the first set I got into because people were telling me like you have to go into a set that is numbered, low numbered, especially looks great, hard to grade. That's actually everything Obsidian is, and actually no one cares about Obsidian. So I was kind of confused that Obsidian didn't get like much love. But
I would say that the only thing that in defense of that is I think Topps Chrome will be so big because, like you said, 20 years from now, I think there's a good chance there's actually Topps Chrome Champions League being released 20 years from now.
I fucking love. Oh, I cannot swear. Shit.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I love Topps Chrome.
Yeah,
I think it's a great set.
Obsidian is great, but we don't know for sure because it's the continuity that matters, right? We don't know if it's going to be printed in 20 years. So if Topps Chrome is still out there, like I just bought a Graven Birch Obsidian rookie.
Yeah.
20 years from now, if there's Topps Chrome and there's no Obsidian, people are going to want that Topps Chrome one more than they want his Obsidian, even though it's young numbered because they'll be like, what the heck is Obsidian? You know what I mean? But I agree with you. It's a really cool looking set. I've definitely been picking up some. I'm just so happy. I tried to buy, have you seen like the Contra Obsidians, like the white ones?
Yeah, they look great.
I saw the Ansu Fati one. I was like, I have to have it. Not really as an investment. I was like, it's just beautiful, man. I have to have it. Who am I happy I didn't buy it? Which goes into taking it all the way back. That's another like basic level of soccer type of thing. It's like people are investing in Fati. It's like you don't even know he's injured, bro. Like you also don't know how injuries in soccer work. It's not like, oh, Fati will be back. Yeah, straight into the starting lineup. Like that's not how it works. So you definitely
seen it with Van Dijk. He's not going to be in the squad for the Netherlands.
True.
Again, that's something I understand that people tell like you have to buy the dip. Like if he's injured, that's not buying opportunity. It's an opportunity. It doesn't mean you have to. Like with Fati, I think at this point I had like 4 surgeries and anywhere between 2 and 4. Like I don't know at this point because you hear a lot of stuff. But even if it's only 2, like sure he's young and he can recover, but he hasn't played for a long time. He needs time to get back into the squad and all that stuff. So the Euros are coming along. Is he going to be included? I don't think Spain put out this squad. I'm not sure at this point. I don't believe
so. Well, he's definitely not going to be included though, regardless. No way.
So again, it's like Eden Hazard is included in Belgium's. Like I don't know how he's going to play. So maybe he's included.
Fair enough. For what it's worth, I'll be bringing my Ansu Fati cards to Dallas tomorrow if anyone is interested in taking those off my hands. All right, last question. Should the earliest card always be the true rookie? Specifically referring to like WCCF and kind of that stuff. Where do you stand on this?
In the beginning, when I entered, I was like, even I knew that Adrenaline Excel, for example, or Match Attacks was considered to be something people don't really cared about. It was like a children's thing. But then again, look at Pokemon. Pokemon is also a children's thing. So the more I read and the more I'm in the market since last year, March. So it's more than a year. I'm not going to say that I'm like all knowing, but the more I hear, read, talk to people, I think it should be like people put so much preface on that first thing. Like it has to be the first thing. And they spend so much money in it too. It's not only that they recognize it's the first thing, but they also spend so much money on that first thing or thinking it's the first thing while it's actually not. I think again, a lot of shout outs on this podcast. Sucker Study, like he made a video about people that think one car is the first thing, but it's actually not. It's just mislabeled because they put 2000, let's say 2006, but is it 2005, 2006 or 2006, 2007? Like that's a big difference. Like if you buy a player thinking his rookie year is 2006, 2007, while it's actually 2005, 2006, that's a big difference. So I posted it on my Instagram about Benzema. Like he has a 2005, 2006 WCCF card, but he also has a 2006, 2007 Panini sticker. Like, what's the actual rookie? I would say 2005, 2006. Doesn't matter if it's WCCF. Like WCCF is not like this made up brand somewhere from some country. Like
Yeah.
it's WCCF is huge. So if that's the first year, then that should be considered his true rookie. Like if there's nothing else, like from a major company from the first year he played or not played, but the first released sit, and that should be considered his true rookie. I don't understand why there is even a debate about that. If 2005, 2006 is the first thing he has from him in a Lyon kit, then that's just what it is. I don't know. But then again, it's the market, and the market decides. I get that, but if the market is 95% people that don't really know, then I mean, 2005, 2006 is still the first one.
Yeah. I think my response to this would be, I heard it, I was on the plane and I was watching a show and they had a great quote. The U.S. Supreme Court was trying to define, like there was a case of pornography. What is pornography and what isn't? And they said, it's really hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. And I was like, you know what? That's kind of how I feel about soccer rookies. Like you can't really, well, first of all, putting rules on it is so dumb. I think not dumb, but like saying earliest equals best no matter what is just not true.
No,
it's just
no,
not true. Especially like, and it goes into my quote, like, I think like Dortmund has like a Japanese set, and I think like Reyna's first card technically was in that. But I just look at it and I'm like, it's just not though. It's just not. And I can't really explain exactly why it isn't, but I see it. I'm like, that's not it. It kind of goes into what you said. Like, it's hard to say there's a hard and fast rule. I guess what I always just think about is like, do your best job of predicting what collectors will actually want in the future in terms of like their main first card. You know what I mean? So I think WCCF like has a place, but I really think the majority of collectors, they would rather, like for me, like for Benzema, even though that one came out before, I would still much rather have a sticker.
But are you then talking about collectors or people that want to invest in it to sell later on? Because if you're a collector, then you should go for that 2005 because that's the earliest one. If you're a collector, I'm not talking about investors or flippers or whatever. If you're a collector, then you should go for the 2005 one. If you're a flipper, then you should go where the market goes, and that's 2006.
I'm actually going to disagree with you on two things. Oh, I know. It breaks your heart. I know. You're not going to be able to take it. Oh, this idiot who knows nothing about soccer. Screw him.
Yeah, this American guy comes on and talks about soccer. No. Okay, I'm interested. Hey, go ahead.
So the first thing I'll say is, like, I think they do go kind of hand in hand, at least to an extent, which is why I've said, like, I don't really believe in, like, Top Shot compared to the soccer card market. Like, what for them, like collectors, what collectors value to an extent is really going to influence what you're able to invest in. Mm-hmm. So let's take, for instance, like LeBron James, right? He has a ton of like high school cards and like I'm sure there's stuff that released before his Topps Chrome and all different. I know it's a little different. Mm-hmm. But still though, what like if you're a collector, if you love LeBron James, are you going to buy his high school card? Probably not. Are you going to buy like his very first card? Probably not. You want the Topps Chrome or the Topps. Like that gives you the most sentimental value. And as a result, that's the card that's done the best. So I guess that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I think collectors, they shouldn't necessarily want that one just because it's earlier. For me as a collector, I think the sticker it looks cleaner. It's cooler. It's more like, it has more like relevance, I guess, going back. Because I mean, there's Panini stickers, right, of legends from all the way back. I don't think there's WCCF of like some of these different type of guys. So from both perspectives, I think I'll kind of disagree.
Sure. I mean, you don't have to agree with everything I said.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. If
like you would wait. Okay, I'll ask you. If you could have, let's just call it a PSA 10, and you're just holding it forever. You would rather have that WCCF than the rookie sticker.
Then
you can't ever sell it. You can't ever sell it.
You mean the second year sticker? Yeah, then I would have the WCCF. Yeah.
Oh, really? Just to enjoy with the stats and everything on there?
Yeah, I think it's a great
Okay,
looking card.
fair enough.
They also have like refractors. Like it's not only like
Yeah,
base, like it's also refractors. So I would, but that's just me. I would rather have
yeah,
that
fair enough.
PSA 10 because one, I think they're much harder to grade. That's for one, and two, I would know that came before the 2006 sticker. Like for me personally, that makes a big difference because I know even though that people who came after me in the market or whatever have more money than me, I don't care. Like I would want to know that what I have was the first thing. And as far as I know, the 2005 2006 WCCF came before everything else, and it's still in his Leon kit. It's not like it's some kind of strange country or like
Yeah.
his kit was like totally different or something. It's still in his Leon kit. It's still Benzema. It's a year before the sticker, so I would want that WCCF card any day of the week. But that's just me. I
Yeah,
can.
no,
I mean, that's just
100%.
me.
I would, and I'm not saying it like just my personal feeling is I think more people would want the sticker
Sure,
than if you
I'm
couldn't tell.
convinced. I'm
Okay, you
convinced that
agree with
most
that
people
one.
would. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
sure, sure.
fair enough.
Sure.
But yeah, so I just for me, like the earliest isn't I guess it's not the end all be all for me. Like people say,
No.
oh, the Mundo Chromo came out before the Mega Cracks. I want the Mundo Chromo. I think the Mundo Chromo is actually an interesting buy, but I still for me, like I believe a lot in like the iconic stuff. Even like people talk so bad about I kind of mentioned basketball. This is like the first strong reference. Luka Doncic Prism Silver, insane pop. But for me, that is like iconic. And people are actually going to want that, which is why I've always said like people talk about low pop. At the end of the day, it's what people want for me. That's almost a more important thing to an extent. So,
That's what also
yes,
makes it super, super hard for new people to come in to actually
yeah,
recognize what is actually the rookie, because you always hear people say it's the first one, it's the first one. But what
yeah.
does that actually mean, the first one? Like some people don't. Some people say Adrenaline Excel doesn't matter, but that's the second year Mbappe. Like that came before the Prism, so shouldn't that Adrenaline Excel be worth more than the Prism? Apparently not, but it came before the Prism.
Yeah, I mean, I think that those type of cards probably should get some more love, but once again, for what it's worth, I have absolutely no interest in purely collecting any of those. So, and I think there's a good amount of people who feel the same way. I'm not going to say a majority or a big portion,
Yeah,
but I
sure.
think there is a good amount of people who feel the same way. So, yeah, it's worth a look at. Probably deserves more love, but I would say understand what's earliest, but it's definitely not the end all be all. I think we agree on that one.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Yep. But all right, guys, I think that long episode today, fun one. I'm headed off to Dallas tomorrow, so I'll definitely keep you updated on what's going on out there. And yeah, we'll be able. I'm doing a lot of traveling the next few weeks, but hey, this is the kind of dedication we have to the podcast. We're gonna make sure we get it out. But all right, guys, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.